going on, everybody? Welcome back to a new and exciting episode of the Viall Files Going Deeper edition. I'm your host, Nick, joined by Allie and Amanda. Ladies, how you doing?
Good. It's a good day. We talked about the Royals.
We did talk about the Royals. Tara Schuster is with us, absolutely delightful guest, wonderful writer, author of a very popular book, Buy Yourself the Fucking Lilies. She has a new book coming out, and she is here to help us break down all things Royals and the Meghan and Harry doc. We have a lot to say, so we will spare you with a longer intro. I think we'll just maybe get right into it. Also, don't forget that next week, Going Deeper, Fortune Feimster is with us to break down the other 3 episodes of the Meghan and Harry documentary and whatever other topics come up. I'm sure we'll have a lot more to share. Austin Fortune has a new comedy special out on Netflix. Make sure to check that out if you haven't already. You know, another thing we need to talk about, we don't have time. Have either of you watched the Casey Anthony documentary? It's on Peacock, and a lot of people, but the one who
I know who Casey Anthony is.
Can I get your login?
Yeah, you know, yeah, I'll get you guys all my app logins for the future
you.
stuff. But yeah, she did that shit. I don't know if you watched it.
I haven't watched it, but
I was hard to finish because anyway, we'll get it. Anyway, if you guys let us know if you guys are watching it too and how much time we should spend on it, because I watched it and certainly I have a lot to say, but I don't know how many people are watching it because it was,
feels very 2010. You know,
her story is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, let's get to Tara, Harry, and Meghan.
What a trio.
What a trio. Tara, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great.
Thanks for coming. Excited to have you. I've heard so many great things about you.
Oh, likewise.
And we wanted to break down the Harry and Meghan series. And I thought, what a great person to have. Someone who can just keep up with us in our discourse and
deliver the writerly insights.
Yeah, deliver the goods. And so we're excited to have you, excited to get into it. And how have you been otherwise?
I've been really good. I feel like this is the first holiday season where I haven't been in a crisis mode.
Ooh.
And I feel really emotionally regulated, which I'm just like, this is the biggest deal in the world, like, wow.
Huge deal.
I mean, this took work. This took years and years of hard work.
How did you get to this place? And what was going on before?
Oh man, trial and error. I don't know if you guys relate, but like when you have a difficult family situation, I get amnesia every holiday season because I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be so great. I love family. I love celebration. Completely forgetting that I locked myself in my cousin's bathroom to cry during Thanksgiving like 2 years ago. So I got real. I was just like, I need to be prepared. And it really has helped, but I don't want to jinx myself because obviously we still have Christmas.
How was Thanksgiving?
Amazing.
Okay.
Because you just were prepared for it. You felt better equipped.
I was prepared. I had run many scenarios in my head of what I would do if something like from the past happened. So I'm really proud.
Okay.
So happy.
Is this kind of fall in the lines of like back in the day when, we first had like a New Year's Eve party? We'd be like, let's have the best New Year's Eve. And then you had like more realistic expectations of New Year's Eve where like, yeah, with family, I think you get to a point in your life, it's like, I can love my family and hate them at the same time. I mean, not hate them, but like not glorify it. In a way, and not be utterly disappointed when things don't go the way I hope. Is it a little bit like resetting expectations?
Yeah, and I also think like exactly what you're saying, that two things can both be true.
Yeah,
that like it's a little bit of a struggle, and I love them, but one does not cancel out the other.
Totally.
So just the ambivalence, like I'm just chiller with ambivalence, I guess, is another part of it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I came in with a hot answer.
What are your Christmas plans?
My dad and I are going to a hotel on the beach to have a little staycation together. And we haven't gone on a vacation together for like, I don't know, 10 years, 7 years. So I'm very excited to see how this pans out.
Interesting. Just you and dad?
Just me and dad. My sister's in med school. So she'll, whatever 2 hours she might have free, she'll come.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just me and dad.
And where are you guys going to go?
Like Lowe's, it's a hotel on the beach.
Oh,
Yeah, just
Santa Monica.
local, keeping it
Yeah,
simple.
It's a nice place.
Keeping expectations low.
I love low expectations.
It's the best.
It really is great.
You can only be.
People always criticize me for being like, yeah, whatever, it'll be fine. You're like, aren't you more excited? We'll see. I don't know.
I like
Great
that.
way to have fun
It's like you're pleasantly surprised
all the time.
Or if it just sucked, you're like, yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
I feel like the only counterpoint to that is that sometimes the anticipation is part of the fun. It doesn't always apply because sometimes I think it is very, very necessary to like keep the expectations like low and reasonable. But I find sometimes like, especially if it's seeing a friend who lives in a different country and I get to see them like once every 2 years, like we'll have tickets to a music festival and I will spend months of time like really anticipating and getting super hyped about it. So even if it does fall short, like I've had all these months of enjoyment leading up to it.
I guess. But anytime I fantasize or visualize something and I'm excited about it, it almost never lives up to expectations.
I mean, particularly this time of year, like you mentioned New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Whoever has a good New Year's Eve, it's like on par with what you thought it would be.
Mhm.
I don't think I ever have.
I give up. I just give up.
Because what is it supposed to be?
You're supposed to.
It's overpriced alcohol. It's tighter rooms. It's more expensive Ubers. Like, what is it that is exciting?
I don't know. I mostly feel bad about myself on New Year's Eve.
Do you?
Well, somehow I'm always single on New Year's Eve. I can be in a relationship the whole rest of the year, but right when it comes to New Year's Eve, I'm like, cool, this is really fun.
Are you the one or are they the one usually? Or is it just a mix of
To
both?
break up,
Yeah.
usually me.
It's usually you're jumping ship.
But I mean, yes, and it's problematic.
You want to talk about it?
I mean, you've got such good dating advice. I've been like reading your book and
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm
wow,
so
thank you.
impressed.
Is it
It's
how is it?
legit. Well, it's so legit, it's so relatable, and it's like funny. I really like your book.
I really appreciate it. And you are an excellent writer as well.
Thank you.
You have a second book coming out.
Yeah.
You already have an amazing book. The fucking lilies.
Yeah, buy yourself the fucking
Buy your-
lilies.
What does that title mean?
So I feel like you guys will relate, but I grew up in, maybe not this part, but I grew up in a neglected, psychologically abusive household. It was really difficult, and I basically left my childhood thinking I was worthless. Walking down the streets with this diss track, just constantly like, you are unlovable, nobody cares about you, you're ugly. Because that really was the message. Like, I wasn't crazy. That was the message I got from my childhood. And so this would really come out when I'd go to Trader Joe's, which I love Trader Joe's. We got
Thank
fans
you.
in the house.
Thank you. No,
She is.
Oh.
a virgin. He's a Trader Joe's
not,
virgin.
not a virgin. I've been there. I just don't get it.
I feel like we need to get you some snack packs.
The parking's atrocious.
That's true. Fair.
And none of like my go-to comfort foods are there. I have to be it's a me problem. I'm not an adventurous eater for one.
Got
and
it.
so like I don't know if I want a certain type of chip. I don't know. How's their OJ?
I don't drink it. I don't drink orange juice, so I don't know.
At all?
No.
Wow.
It's not like you think everyone just drinks orange juice.
I feel like, yeah, OJ is kind of like
I couldn't tell you
pretty-
the last time I
Yeah.
drank orange juice.
really?
Yeah.
I feel like it's you're staying at an Airbnb with your friends over the weekend and you do the breakfast shop and you're like, I'm going to get some OJ.
Totally.
I guess, but like I've really been spoiling myself for some freshly squeezed.
So to kind of like tie it together, it's your treat for yourself is orange juice.
In the morning, yeah.
Just let me make this
Okay,
transition.
I like it. Yes,
I'm
I
gonna
love
try.
orange. Thank you, yeah.
But I go to Trader Joe's. I'd see these lilies in their weird bucket of water, and I'd look at them and I'd be like, they're $6.99. I can't afford that. And even if I could, they're just gonna die. Why would I do something that's so self-indulgent? No way. And as I kind of recovered from my childhood and reparented myself, like figured out what I needed nurturing on, little by little, I'd go to Trader Joe's and be like, wait a minute. At a minimum, I'm worth these $7 lilies. Like, this is not a big deal. This is going to bankrupt me. It's just like a nice thing I'm allowed to have. And so that's where the title of the book comes from.
It's kind of treating yourself from time to
Yeah.
time.
And not like a luxury vacation to Hawaii, which
Sure.
totally would be nice. But I find that the little basics, if you can make them into a luxury, just heightens the whole quality of your life. Like,
Yeah, like giving yourself something to look forward to every day, or
yeah.
just like a pat on the back, or just a small win. I
Yeah.
love that.
You just, one of the big things I did was I got rid of all my socks that had holes in them. So now when I go to TSA, I'm like, try me. Like, I know these socks are good. I'm just the basics. I'm
That
really
would make
taking
me
care
feel
of them.
good. As someone who often wears mismatched socks, or
I look shabby in the feet department.
I'm a disgrace when it comes to like taking my shoes off. It's really an embarrassing moment for me. And if I'm wearing, actually, that's a benefit of Cindy. Cindy's a family friend who like was a house
manager.
She's my house manager. She was a professional assistant her whole life, and I don't know how old she is. She could be 70-ish. She could be 80. She could be 90. I don't know. But she's an active woman who's like my housekeeper, and she's always there like buying me shit she thinks I need. She's like my LA mom in a way, but I pay for it. And one thing she buys me is a shit ton of socks, like the basic things that I neglect for myself. And it definitely adds quality to my life. So like, I guess Cindy is the way I got Cindy, so she can give me all these little things that I do appreciate.
Cindy is your self-care.
Cindy's my self-care. Yeah. It's really nice. Every once in a while, she does get on my nerves, though. She's always like, you need this. And I'm like, no. And then we'll argue. She'll argue with me.
She'll fight back.
And I'm like, no. She's like, I'm buying it anyways. I'm like, ugh. She does that a lot.
In addition to kind of like the physical things like lilies and socks, have you found that there's mental habits where you've kind of made swaps that have been like kinder to yourself on a regular basis?
Oh, yeah, big time. One of them is I try not to drink a lot late at night because I love journaling so much. Like journaling basically free, and one of the most therapeutic things I've ever done. Because you can decide your narrative. You can better see, even what's going on. And I find that self-awareness is like step one in any mental health. I hate the word journey, but mental health journey, air quotes. Just even knowing what is going on, like what's happening with me. It's really, really helpful to write it in a journal. So it sounds weird, but like my whole life a little bit is geared towards making sure I can do that every morning.
You journal every morning?
Every morning.
For how long?
20 minutes.
Wow.
So it's like 3 pages, 20 minutes. And I do a gratitude list as a part of that.
Love that. Yeah.
Those like little things that are free can completely change your life. They just sound lame when you first hear it. You're like,
Make
no
a gratitude
way.
list. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it really
It's
is.
so
Like, okay,
dumb.
Los Angeles. Like,
Like, how is that gonna? And I also think like a lot of us, when we're in a tight spot, we don't think there's anything to be grateful for. We're like, why would I be grateful for this hardship? Like, this sucks. But by doing it, again, you can like flip your own perspective and narrative.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I'm a big believer in that stuff. Yeah. There's those little things that we can be grateful for all the time, or just grateful that we don't have to deal with whatever it is we didn't want to deal with.
Totally.
Being done with people or things. It's a great thing to be grateful for.
Yeah.
The
fact we all woke up this morning.
Grateful.
Major win.
Yeah.
Like, we all won already.
We got here.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Here we are. We have you here. I'm grateful for that.
I'm
We could go
grateful to
on
be
and on.
here.
We could have a whole episode on gratitude. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp.
nothing makes you realize the value of therapy like spending time with your family.
Yeah.
The holidays can be a really stressful time for a variety of reasons. And if tensions are running high, if you're being reminded of some of the things from your childhood that might have given you a little bit of broken brain down the line.
Yeah. You have to deal with that
happens.
childhood trauma every holiday season. Think of BetterHelp. Maybe you have a big career decision to make. You want to bounce ideas off, or maybe you're just dealing with some like unexpected anxiety or some money problems, or, you just want someone to, talk to that, isn't part of your inner circle and comes without judgment. Well, that's what therapy is all about. And BetterHelp is helping people connect with licensed therapists like never before. And the best part is they make it just so easy, convenient to do that, because so much, I think the big kind of barrier of people getting therapy, obviously cost plays a role, and then convenience is the other one. And online therapy with BetterHelp is more affordable than in-person therapy, and they make it super easy and convenient because they're working with so many therapists. They are connected with over 3 million licensed therapists. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're listening to this and you've constantly told yourself, I should get therapy, we should get therapy, I should do therapy, like, just check it out. Go to betterhelp.com/Viall Files and just take a gander at the website. You just take a quick quiz to talk about what you're looking for therapy, what you're struggling with, what your needs are, and they will help connect you with a licensed therapist. As the world's largest therapy service, BetterHelp has matched 3 million people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists, available 100% online. Plus, it's affordable. There's no waiting rooms, no traffic, no endless searching for the right therapist. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/VIALLFILES. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Viall Files. When it comes to choosing a wireless plan, you're forced to compromise. But what if you didn't have to? What if you could get reliable service without a contract and save money? Introducing Total by Verizon, a new no-contract, no-credit check carrier for you and your family with plans starting at just $30 per month on America's most reliable 5G network. Sacrifice nothing, experience everything. Total by Verizon is available at totalbyverizon.com and at retailers nationwide. Based on first place rankings and Root Metrics first half 2022 5G assessments of 125 metros. Experiences vary, not an endorsement. Before we get into the Royals, have you been following the AI stuff?
Oh yeah, big time.
Some of my friends and peers have been posting those kind of glow up things, which I find to be like the new ick of the internet. Nevertheless, we thought we would do it for everyone in this room.
Whoa.
So we have some of you.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, first, we're going to start with Nicholas.
We're going to start with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's not bad. Natalie was like, don't ever post this. We did my girlfriend too. And then I showed her hers. She goes, oh. I'm like, yeah, she's putting that up. Am I wearing a tank top?
No, you're like a gladiator.
A Jesus robe.
Yeah. You're like a gladiator.
To me, it was giving the Lord.
To me, it was giving like you're at the Colosseum fighting for your life.
I mean, I guess ultimately this just looks like a picture of me.
Yeah.
But a saintly one.
Saintly one.
There he is.
Some fun hair.
Like that would be something fun to like put on the wall.
That?
Yeah.
Why that?
I don't know. It's fun. It's vibrant. It's bright. Moving into Natalie.
Oh, no, that's my girlfriend.
Yeah. I just liked how Natalie's turned out.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
This turned out amazing.
Yeah.
Looks like a goddess.
Woo!
Woo!
Tara. What?
That's a great one.
What do we think that looks like? Oh my god. I need that. Oh,
don't worry. I have like 50 of you. I'll get it. I'll give them to you after the session.
That one is one of my more favorite things I've ever seen.
That deserves a shrine.
Very kind of, she definitely disjournaled.
Yeah. Yes.
Like that's
This
an
is
enlightened woman. The goddess of enlightenment.
Yeah.
She's like, nothing will bother me right now.
Yeah.
A very sense of peace and tranquility right there.
Yeah.
That could be framed as well.
Yeah.
Art. I don't know what's happening with mine.
Oh my God. No.
Nice.
That's
what's wrong with that? This looks nice.
Yeah.
I feel like you're a
So
noir
crunchy.
star.
Oh,
yeah.
Like a classic Hollywood, starlet.
Also nice.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite look like you, but
I know mine didn't. I don't feel like mine really.
I have some you sent me. I was
Yeah.
like, all right.
Amanda.
I look like I'm crying in all of them. These are the ones where I least look like I'm crying, and I still look like I'm crying. Fun fact.
How do they know that like you kind of have a hippie vibe? How did AI know that?
Do you think I have a hippie vibe?
You have like not hippie, but
no,
like,
I'm honored.
You're more of a like Allie's more the
what? The what, Nicholas?
You would shop at Aritzia, and Amanda would go to a thrift store.
All right.
Am I getting myself in trouble?
No,
I shop at Aritzia.
last time I was at Aritzia, Natalie Joy was there.
I'm
A
sure
celebrity
I'm sure
sighting.
you guys would shop at both. But
You're not in trouble.
Final Amanda.
She also dyes her hair.
Yeah.
I thought this is a nice one.
No, I like that one. That's the one I think where I objectively do not look like I'm crying for once.
I find it creepy that the computers, the AI can actually like do this, or you can say, there's one called DALL-E where you could say, I want to see the moon in the style of Georgia O'Keeffe. And then it will just do that. It like full on makes a Georgia O'Keeffe painting. Like that freaks me out because that means, oh man, this thing's creative, like for real. Cool.
No, what's the chat GPT, is it called?
Yeah.
We asked it right before you came in a question, and the question was, I showed you the answer already, but it was, I'm thinking about breaking up with my partner over the holidays. Am I an asshole? And the answer it shot quickly was, it's never easy to end a relationship, and it's understandable that you might be feeling unsure about your decision. Ultimately, the decision to break up with your partner is up to you. It's important to do what feels right for you. And if you have been feeling unhappy in a relationship and believe that breaking up is the best decision for you, then it's okay to go through it. Just be sure to handle the situation with care and respect, and to communicate openly and honestly with your partner about your decision. It's never okay to be cruel or hurtful in a breakup. So be sure to keep in mind as you navigate this difficult situation. That a computer came up with that in seconds. That's scary.
So loving.
Tender.
Yeah, a real warmth coming off of that one.
I'm terrified of the future and technology.
My only saving grace about AI is I feel like they're saying like, oh, AI is going to replace writers. But nowadays, like you have to do so much more than be a writer. You know, you have to be on social media. You have to go do things. How is AI going to do that?
I don't know.
So I just feel like I'm safe for maybe another 10 years because like, is AI going to get on TikTok? Probably not. Like, how would that even work?
Part of me wants to like, how do I figure out how to use it to my advantage? And then also, when it comes to technology, I'm just going to try to keep up until it ruins the world. You know, I don't know.
What else can we do?
What else can we do? We might as well join along and just arm ourselves as much as we can before they just clean out the human race.
I mean,
that's like the end game,
on
right?
That wavelength. Yeah, because the AI is going to be like, oh, we don't need you anymore. You're just a nuisance. Bye.
Yeah. Like you guys are bad to each other. Like we've seen this movie before, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's not wrong.
We know the ending.
And I didn't like the ending.
Unless we could all band together and, you know, find unity and fight the AI, which given what the state of the world is now.
I don't think it's gonna we have to come together. Oh my God, we have to put our differences aside and have some just like healthy discourse, and yeah, that'll never happen. I don't know. But yeah, I'm never gonna post those silly things that people are posting. I just like it's hysterical because they're definitely like glow ups, and people like can't help themselves by like I wouldn't post it, but like it looks so good.
They're like, AI is so weird, right?
Yeah.
How pretty do I look at this?
Yeah.
Look at my flawless skin and huge eyes.
I'm beautiful.
It's like my arms really look like that, right? Like I have big arms like that, right? I mean,
Nick's like,
really
am I going into battle? Yes.
Yeah. Like,
Every day.
I can be a superhero for sure. I'm gonna bring that into like my next audition or something.
Literally,
you know?
they asked a headshot.
Yeah.
Wait, Tara, do you have any questions for the chat GBT while we have it pulled up?
Ooh.
What would you like to know?
I want to know, how is my first date going to go next weekend?
I'm sorry, but I'm not able to predict the future or provide specific information about your first date. I am a large language model trained by OpenAI, and I don't have the ability to access personal information or make predictions. It's still going. Anything else?
First off, what good is AI if it can't answer that
What is
question?
AI?
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah.
AI, or artificial intelligence, has the potential to be very powerful and useful technology. It can be used to automate tasks, improve decision-making, and to help businesses and organizations operate more efficiently and effectively. I don't know how we're going to automate tasks, because I've just been sitting over here plugging in questions.
Anyways, the future is now and the end is near.
I'm curious for both of you, like before we get to all the Harry and Meghan stuff, like, is there an area of whether it's emotional intelligence or like just a social role, like what is a service that humans provide to one another that you fundamentally believe that nothing could ever, like no form of technology could ever replicate? Like empathy, compassion, like.
I was going to say compassion, but now I don't know because the text you read was super compassionate.
And compassionate. And it was like, hey, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
You know,
In a nice way.
in a nice way. You have the right, but just be tender and blah,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah.
It was literally like, it makes sense that you might have trepidation or fear about this. Like, it's built in there.
That was far more empathetic than a lot of friends giving breakup advice.
Totally.
For
Like,
sure.
fuck them. Just like end it. Like, they don't deserve anything.
Truly.
You know?
Truly.
AI doesn't projecting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think it's more back qualities that
Yeah,
it
Like,
wouldn't
it
do.
can't
Right.
be reactive. Hey,
Reactive?
tell me you're going to freak out the way I do. No.
That's
You
a
know?
good point. It's like all the good things, but why would AI suck? Like, why would it go out of its way to like put you down?
Yeah.
Maybe you treated it poorly, which people do. This is a thing. My ex-boyfriend, the way he would talk to Alexa ended up being a problem in our relationship because he would walk in the room and be like, Alexa, like screaming at Alexa. And I was like, wait, what? That like, just because it's inanimate, your first thing is to scream at it? Like, it really became an issue.
Really? Did you like foreshadow how you might be a father?
Totally. That's how he would talk to something that was defenseless and,
Helpless.
totally.
That he had total power over.
And it was just an immediate, like,
Ick.
Lord of the Flies, primitive anger that came out. It's like,
I agree that it's a huge red flag. My boyfriend did that, and I cut that shit right out. I was like, don't talk to her that way.
Exactly.
Sometimes you
say
have to
thank
be
you.
stern with Alexa.
I say thank you to Alexa and Siri every time. One, because I think for like an internal
Does
thing,
it say
like
you're welcome? Does
yeah,
she?
yeah,
call
or
it a
something
sh-
to be like,
is it-
don't
I call
mention
it a
it.
she,
Yeah.
She.
Alexa.
Mine's Australian, so she'll be like, don't mention it, or like, no problem.
You've given it an Australian accent?
Yeah.
You can do that?
Oh yeah.
You can make Waze
wow.
sound like Cookie Monster if you want. It was real fun in college. I was like, next exit.
Get your luggage on with Away. You need an Away suitcase. If you don't have an Away suitcase, you're not traveling correctly. But many of us have been at the airport and had that luggage just burst open at the seams. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. No one likes it. You feel embarrassed. And it always happens when you're running late, when you're trying to, when you don't have the time to do it. It's a nightmare. And just don't experience that ever again. Just get away. It's lasts forever. They'll give you a lifetime warranty, literally.
I used my carry-on for Thanksgiving, packed it to the brim because I needed a bunch of different outfits. And then I had my huge puffer coat. And I didn't really want to wear it around the airport because I was going to get hot. And it's just like, whatever. I don't need it back in LA. And I thought to myself, there's no way this fits in my Away suitcase. It's already filled to the brim. It's a carry-on. Let's be honest.
And yet,
It fit.
it fit.
My favorite thing about Away is that they have the laundry bag. That is so helpful to me, especially like on a longer trip. If you have multiple stops, like keeping your clean clothes and like your dirty underwear separate, game changing. I also really appreciate the charging port for a phone so you can charge on the go. Because let's be honest, sometimes it is a bloodbath for the outlets at the airports. So avoid all of that. It's not just about how sleek and awesome the Away suitcase looks. It's genuinely so functional.
It's incredible. And they also, again, have a 100-day trial on everything Away makes. Take the product on the road, travel with it, live with it, get lost with it for 100 days. And if you decide it's not for you, you can return any non-personalized item for a full refund during that period. No ifs, ands, or asterisks. Away offers free shipping and returns on any orders within the contiguous US, Europe, Canada, and Australia, except for personalized products. This holiday season, gift Away at awaytravel.com/VIALL. That is awaytravel.com/VIALL. Shave those balls. Shave the balls.
Trim your tree and trim your balls.
Chances are your horny partner is going to be like, hey, babe, how about like, all I want for Christmas is like, like some, some whatever you want, whatever you guys call it.
Sexuals?
Something sexual. And you're going to be down and all of a sudden you're going to go down there. And then it's going to be like just a whole safari. Like get with the safari. We don't want a safari.
Christmas safari.
Anyways, everything that Manscaped has when it comes to the male grooming department is fantastic. Their Lawnmower 4.0 is the leader of their Performance Package 4.0. Well, as I call it, it's the Performance Package for your package. Engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on the intelligent functionality and an incredibly comfortable grooming experience. Stop them from using your razors and your trimmers because they are, or their beard trimmers, gross, because they are. They have their body wash is great. Their underwear is fantastic. Amanda is wearing their deodorant, so there's that.
I am. This exact moment I'm wearing their deodorant. And Do I smell?
Nope.
Yeah.
Fresh as a daisy over here.
It's great for everybody. So get the man in your life some Manscaped. That's right. The new Persevere body wash from Manscaped solves all 3 of the perfect additions to your daily grooming routine. But in the shower, this body wash has a light woody scent and is infused with aloe vera and sea salt to keep your skin feeling clean, nice, and moisturized. Get 20% off and free shipping by going to manscaped.com/VIALL. That's 20% off with free shipping by going to manscaped.com/VIALL. Happy New Year to your balls.
Let the ball drop.
Let the ball drop.
Speaking of exit.
Yeah, Meghan and Harry left Brits.
And now we've got
and
a
thanks for coming,
docuseries on
everyone.
it.
Great episode.
Well, Allie, you being the resident expert, how do you want to kick this off?
I know, because obviously 3 episodes, we kind of covered a lot. There's still a lot more to get into of 4 through 6. So I don't know if it makes more sense to kind of talk about the biggest moments throughout as opposed to just starting and going.
Well, maybe we should just identify what we bring to this conversation. For myself, Allie, the expert, she's been following the royals for years. She knows everything. She's the encyclopedia. She's our in-house expert. Myself, I am someone who hasn't paid much attention to the royal family. I've seen 1 season of The Crown, I think, maybe 2. I don't know. It lost me. But I remember when Princess Diana died. I'm familiar with them. I've loosely followed them. And I watched this documentary and became very invested in these takes. Like I get how it's just a really it's an amazing reality TV show, because that's all it is.
I have followed almost I don't want to say hate watch because I don't hate them, but I just want to see what's next, even if sometimes I don't enjoy it. But I think I was a TV executive for a long time, so I think what I bring to it is just my critique entertainment wise,
okay,
but also as someone who writes about mental health. Those are the 2 where I feel like.
What about you, Amanda?
I bring in a fierce loyalty to Meghan Markle because she also went to Northwestern.
Interesting.
Fun fact. So that is my real. I have not followed them closely at all.
Okay.
I'm just going to say I'm biased because
You're
of that.
identifying your bias for Meghan Markle.
Yeah. And it's going to come out.
That's fine. Yeah. No. And I find, we were talking this before we started, people are very passionate about this. Nally and I got into it last night a little bit while watching it. She did not agree with my take, and she just told me to shut up and let her enjoy the show. And it was, but people are heated with this. I don't know. Ultimately, I guess I just want to start by saying, I think Harry and Meghan are very much in love. They deserve to be happy. As from a human side, good for them. Whatever. Get your bag, get your money, whatever. Tell your story. I have no personal problem with it. It's totally fine. But I was in London for the first time this summer. I only bring that up because it was fascinating talking to the locals, the black cabs, who are great tour guides. And they were talking about just the monarchy and what it means to them and how it's a symbol. We have weird things like fireworks and
bald eagles
and we love that shit as Americans. And they have the crown, and to people like me who don't get it, it's a made up title at this point with a lot of questionable history, but whatever, man.
To each their own.
To each their own. That gets them excited. Fine. And I'm watching this, and I just so I kind of see both sides. But ultimately, I think for me, it started off when it first started. My biggest critique of Harry and Meghan is more the execution of how they went about it. Because ultimately, even the trailer, can we all agree this was this is a tell-all? It was a tell-all, right?
I totally. I mean, they explicitly say multiple times, we are telling our side.
Yeah. And so when you tell your side, it's like a PR move, right? You want people to empathize with you. You want people to see your side. You want to add your context, your truth, your story. Okay. But their biggest, it started off by them talking about how like a lot of the discussions was them critiquing the press and the media and attention and them trying to talk about how much they want their privacy and things like that. And I'm just like, okay, like a Netflix documentary that everyone's going to talk about is an interesting move when it comes to like privacy and like removing yourself from the equation. I don't know. It's like, and like the fact that they made like an estimated $100 million off this. Again, get your I don't care. I have no stake in it at all.
Also, I just pulled up Harry's book deal because Spare, his book, is coming out in January, I believe. And it's, I think, an estimated 35 million pounds, which is about $44 million.
44 million. Yeah, whatever. Either way.
So, but like combining the two, I'm like, this is a hell of a couple of months for these two.
But it's interesting when you think about it because like it seems like if you talk to my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong for any Brits out there listening to this, but yeah, they like this is a symbol for them. And my understanding is they see the royal family and the people in this role. It's like, it's a role of servitude in a way. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, you get to be king and queen and prince and princess and you get to be these people, but there is a cost. And that cost is to be like a spokesperson and a statesman and do all these appearances and kind of have this weird relationship with the media. And it's like their brand. And like, it seems like the criticism for Harry and Meghan from that side of the aisle is you're taking our story, you're taking our brand and you're selling it the way you want to. And you're making a shit ton of money without having to do the obligations and the responsibilities that say your brother William and your sister-in-law or Kate. And I kind of get that. I kind of understand where it's kind of like, I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard to watch two very rich, privileged people in the most beautiful house I've ever seen.
Unbelievable.
It's like a Nancy Meyers film on speed.
Yeah.
So much cashmere everywhere. Head to toe cashmere. The best of. There's 3 arches behind Meghan and a lot of her talk tos where it's just like the ocean expanse. So I can understand why maybe some people are haters because it's really hard to relate to that. On the other hand, I really felt like I understood Harry's point of view more and that it's more understandable in the context of Princess Diana because I hate the word trigger because I feel like it's overused, but I can completely see why he would be triggered if his mom died by paparazzi.
Totally.
Like I can 100% understand why he would have a different take and want to protect Meghan in the way he couldn't protect his mom.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, I really do. I think I know a lot of people find Meghan to be not Natalie and certainly not Amanda, but like I have no real, I have really no opinion of her in a sense. Like, but I get like she does some cringy things. I do
curtsy.
The
curtsy.
I want to defend the curtsy.
Okay.
Because I thought she was just making fun of herself. Like it was a self-effacing joke about, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Or maybe I read it wrong, but I didn't read it as a slam against the English and people who do.
I agree with
No,
that.
I agree. I don't think it was meant to be, because they do, and they talked about it in the Oprah interview, they still maintained a very good relationship with Queen Elizabeth. And it was an awkward moment, I think, because of Harry's reaction. And then
What
people
did he do?
like
I don't remember.
nothing. It's like there wasn't even a laugh. Like there was just,
I think
that was the awkward part of him being like,
I don't think she's very funny, and she tries to be funny. I don't know if either of them are very funny. And like there was a time where she was like, oh, that was a good joke, to Harry. Like maybe they're just not funny, which is fine. I think it's just like, it was obviously, they self-produced this. It seems like they had a lot of creative control. They made a ton of money, and it obviously just opens the door for criticism. I mean, they totally, I agree. Like I found me like relating to Harry, not relating, but understanding Harry from that. And like, I mean, also like the guy, he served in the armed forces for 10 years. Like,
I had no idea.
I was pretty fucking impressed by that. A guy who grew up as the prince, and I've heard rumors that his dad's never tied his own shoe or some shit like that. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to fight in war.
Yeah.
War. I mean, say what you want, but like that is a fucking like impressive choice that he made to try to give back and serve his country. And, he's got all my respect for that, for sure.
I also thought I really respected the way he addressed like the controversy about him dressing as a Nazi and like talking about how he met with rabbis after the fact to like kind of educate himself. And it rung true as kind of that feels like that is the procedure now when people are called out for doing things that are like hateful, insensitive, ignorant, is like kind of this like I have to like reflect and learn. And I feel like this controversy came before there was such a clear playbook about that. And it seems like he still did the right thing, so to speak. And the fact that he was like willing to acknowledge and call it out really made me respect him.
Yeah, he said he went to Berlin and spoke to a Holocaust survivor as well, speaking to Rabbi.
He seems like the kind of guy who like actually follows through with, the work that he needs to do. I was so impressed by him. He was talking about bias and how he needs to unlearn things and relearn, but he doesn't come off as virtue signaling or faking it in some way. Like, I 100% believe he's a cool guy.
Totally seems sincere and down to earth. Yeah, for sure. It's just it was something about like when she told the story when they first met, because again, this is supposed to be a tell-all, right? And in a tell-all, you want to hear the tea. There's an expectation of authenticity, I think, when we watch a tell-all or read a tell-all. And just every once in a while, Meghan will say something where I'm like, I don't buy it. And I get if you don't want to like share everything, you want your privacy. But again, you made a tell-all and you got paid so much money for it. And I think that's where I think kind of the expectation and the discourse comes from. But she was like, when I first got set up by Harry and like, but all I wanted to know was, is he nice? And I'm thinking, there's no fucking way that was the conversation you had with your friend when you got set up with Prince Harry and you're about to go on a date. And and I'm supposed to believe that the only thing running through your mind was, I just want him to be nice. It's just like that's such a scripted answer that sounds nice. It's like a media trained answer, and that's fine, but it takes away from the authenticity that I think people want and expect when watching a tell-all.
Do you remember when Anne Hathaway was really out and people were like, she's too earnest?
People were so mean to her.
People were really mean to Anne Hathaway for a minute.
Oh yeah, bullying.
And I wonder, is this the Anne Hathaway moment where people just don't like earnest people? Like what I read off Meghan Markle and Anne Hathaway is they want to be liked. Yeah. They want to be liked. They want to be seen. They don't want anyone to be mad at them, which I relate to. And I think it's not cool to be earnest.
Totally.
And so I just wonder if we're going to look back and be like, we were too mean to Meghan. Like, she was trying.
I don't think, it doesn't seem like objectively, like Harry and Meghan have done nothing wrong from where I can sit. I'm not British. I don't care about the monarchy. But yeah, it's just more, there's this weird kind of critique of like this documentary there. It's the wanting to be liked and going through the exercise just
that's how
opens
I felt.
Up the door. Yeah.
And as a like former TV executive, my big knock on it is it wasn't juicy. I was like, oh, they seem like really nice and in love. That's so nice. I wanted like dirt. Like if you're telling me this is a tell-all, which is how it was advertised, I want it to be juicy and revelations and it's a cliffhanger and oh my God, can you believe that happened? But this was just, let's wear cashmere, neutral colors. We're very much in love. Somehow we knew to take photos at our first date. That's weird, by the way. Yeah. That was weird to me.
I think that was after the second date, though. That was after dinner.
Either way, they clearly were documenting themselves very early in the courtship.
Like, have you ever on your second date with someone been like, let's take a selfie?
Could you imagine going on a second date and being like, hold on, let's just like let's just like, how's this date going? Like, oh my God, like, is this like, do we feel like we've known each other for like ever? Like,
I feel like the first selfie is always a big deal. When, for me,
it's vulnerable asking to take a picture with the person you're dating.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
I also just give them props because they had the foresight, in terms of whatever their brand is. But then I'm like, wait, I'm talking about a brand. I'm meant to be talking about like a love story,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What if we give them credit for being two very sentimental people.
That's
Yeah,
the thing. I
that's
went on a
true.
first date last week and I took a selfie.
With the person?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the context?
We're going to send it to someone else that we like knew.
Oh, yeah.
I've
Maybe
done
they
that.
took it for the friend who set them up.
Oh, good call.
Because that would be the only thing that would really like make total sense to me. Otherwise, it would be like, it's a little odd and sentimental, but go in.
And maybe sentimental is the right word.
Because they
It's
knew they
like-
weren't going to see each other for a while. She was leaving. Maybe they just said they wanted to capture the moment. I'm pro team selfie.
I
And-
think you're brave. That's a courageous move.
It is.
And what about them profiting so much off? Because isn't that what they're doing? I mean, they are profiting off the royal family's brand while not wanting to participate in the royal family.
I say get that money. Just if that's what they need, I'm not gonna.
I mean, I would do the same
Right?
thing for sure. Yeah,
But also,
none of
I
us here
agree.
would turn
I
this
agree
down.
with Tara because my point after watching these 3 episodes, and again, I went in with a lot of knowledge, so it was nice to get clarifications, but I kind of knew what the timeline was. But their Oprah interview, I felt like had way more
Yeah.
statements and quotes and big moments about there are racist members in our immediate family. There was questions about how dark Archie's skin would be. Those are the type of lines that were being brought up from the Oprah interview. And this 3-episode arc, I'm with you, was a little bit more like, la da 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 da, here's our story.
Yeah, it was weird because they were like, this woman wore this like horribly racist pin to a
Mhm.
family gathering. And then they didn't really follow through on what happened with that. So I was just confused. Like it felt like it was kind of incomplete. Like they were giving us like little snippets, but without any like payoff.
But it is
Yeah.
interesting that like Harry, I mean, while it wasn't juicy, he was still criticizing his family. And I guess that's like, they didn't even have to do a tell-all,
Right.
right? Couldn't they have, well, they could have done a million things. They could have done a documentary on a variety of their passion projects. Maybe they wouldn't have made the $100 million, but they made about 50 or 20 or whatever.
Still great.
They were going to be fine. Like either way, someone's going to pay Harry and Meghan to create content for as long as they want to create content, and they're going to pay them handsomely, is my guess. And they could have done a million other things other than like, well, again, it wasn't scandalous, but like the whole premise of the royal family and the monarchy is their image. Like they even talked about it. Like they have this whole press like arrangement, which they did try to sell that as scandalous on the documentary. It was like, we have all these outlets and this is the thing they do and you guys don't know about this. And I'm thinking, well, like the White House does that. And what's the fucking difference? Like this is your head of state, so to speak. I know it's more of a figurehead role than an active government, but either way, we have the White House, and the White House is a reality TV show these days anyways. So like, it almost seemed like Harry, I was surprised the kind of jabs he kept making at his family. And I'm just wondering why. I didn't really quite understand that point of view.
There was a telling moment where he was saying how Meghan was going through all of this and, the press was even being like racist about her. And everyone in his family said, well, all our wives went through it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe he just doesn't feel like he's had any compassion. And by the way, not all their wives, went through it. His mom died
Mm-hmm.
from all this paparazzi. I did not like when they called the paparazzi paps. I didn't like that. That was just a me thing.
Okay.
But I'm like,
Harry and Meghan did?
yeah, they were, or everybody was
The
kind
slang for
of
it.
slang. And I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know. Like, yeah. But I feel like he went through a really unique experience. And I would feel that way too. If my mom died because people were trying to take her photo,
Yeah.
you'd have a different context.
Because I felt like with so much of it, it's like the moment you were pointing out where it's like everyone's wives went through it. And it's like, well, yes and no.
I mean,
Like,
I don't know. I guess I wasn't paying attention when Kate was entering the royal family. Was she, how, I mean, I don't like maybe a resident expert. How does that work with like the Kates of the world where they're courting these
So
people?
Kate actually switched colleges when she realized that Prince William was going to go to St. Andrews. I guess Kate's mom was optimistic that the two of them would meet and hit it off and that would be it.
Really?
Yeah, so they met at
And
St.
she
Andrews.
comes from some sort of royal bloodline?
No. I mean, they do
No,
well.
she's just She's just a normie.
The Middletons are like well off, but no, I don't. Yeah, she's not. It wasn't like a Lady Diana situation where she already came with the lady title.
Interesting.
Situation. So they met at St. Andrews, started dating, lived together like their last year there, continued dating. They dated for like 7 or 8 years. He wasn't committing. That's where the whole like Waity Katie thing came from. She finally had enough and kind of went out and lived her best life. And then he didn't like that, came back and committed. But from insiders, there's a lot of orchestration and pressure happening from the firm, which is what they call like the royals and the Middleton family, because they really wanted it to work. So everyone wanted this to happen. They got married in 2011, now have 3 kids.
But like, did she deal with any like harassment from
there's like
press?
a lot of videos of her trying to get into her car, and there's a ton of paparazzi. So I mean, you even saw that in the documentary.
That's typical stuff.
Yeah.
Right? But I mean, like Meghan dealt with like you've seen the clips, the racist remarks, the harassment. You're rooting the royal family? You know, it gave like kind of it was almost like, it seems like the people of Britain and the ones who are like big in the royal family, it's almost like I got the impression that people who enter that community, it's like old school like college hazing. You know, it's like we got to see if they can deal with this bullshit that all the other people do, and so we almost put them through it. That was kind of like the image that the documentary seemed to like give off. Is that how it has been over the years? Like, have other people dealt with just kind of the picking on and the bullying from the press or making up stories, or is that specifically exclusive to Meghan?
I mean, I think it is different because of the race element. Again, Kate got, and Meghan even talked about this in the Oprah interview, like Kate got Waity Katie, and I'm getting this much more magnified criticisms and racial remarks. People weren't happy with the Camilla of it all after, you know, especially after Diana passed. Charles and Camilla getting back together, even though they kind of were the entire time. So, I mean, I think all of the women, it's like people do, it's tough, but I do think Meghan is different. Interesting.
I feel like she was gaslit, like very, like in the true sense of the word. Like I think she was systematically like isolated, like by the institution of the royals. Like I think like entering that space, they she was cut off. They mentioned that, they kind of allude to it in the documentary, and I'm sure we'll get more to it because in the Oprah interview, she alludes to having thoughts of like suicide while she was pregnant, I believe. And so I think that when they say in this interview how her friends are like, yeah, we started hearing from her less and less. Like I think she was starting to become like isolated from her friends and family. She was getting unfair and a total double standard level of media criticism and being told, no, it's fine. Like, what's wrong? Like, you're weak. You're not good enough. And I really think she was like truly like psychologically manipulated.
I also think it's hard too. Like, she is so different from Kate in so many ways. Like, Kate is from there. Like, she's been dating William for so long. And so, like, in this book, they talked about the fact that they just operate in such different ways. So when they were talking to staff or when they were dealing with people like in the institution of it, like Kate would call and say, I'm sorry, like, I know I'm just the girlfriend, da 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 da, and like was much more that approach. And Meghan was like, oh, we have an event tomorrow. Like, I want it all laid out. Like, I want to know everything. Can I look over the documents? Like, it was just a much different personality.
Which I'm sure is partially because she had a legitimate, successful career and knew what was up and knew to just like be prepared.
Yeah, I mean, to her, I guess her credit, I mean, if you're going to try to get a prince to fall in love with you, you kind of have to act like you belong and that they're your equal, which must be hard to do. But like, yeah, it's like she kind of has this, you know, energy. And like to Meghan's credit, she, like they were saying, she does look stately. She looks like she fits like she does. She literally looks like she was born to do this, you know? And yet I can see how, you know, forgetting about all the, you know, the other stuff, but, you know, entering the royal family, like I can imagine people being like, well, slow your roll here, you know, in terms of there's like years of history and all this, and Meghan comes in. In high school, we don't like newcomers. Even in adulthood, we can like be like, oh, I don't know you. Like you have to like earn, like as the human condition, we do that with the people. And then now, you know, magnify that with a whole royal family. I could see how the people in the royal family found that to be a bit off-putting.
Yeah, what did you think of the hugger comment when Meghan talks about how
Oh.
she's like, I'm a hugger, and how that was like not, it was in the context of her saying how this like stiffness that exists in external appearances also exists in like more internal private settings.
Which I think was a
Different
slight,
cultures, I guess.
not dig, but I think that was William and Kate.
I
It was-
felt that was a dig.
Yeah.
Because, like, whatever. Different people interact in totally different ways. You can't take that kind of thing that personally. It's okay if Kate doesn't want to hug people. Like, that's not a knock on her.
Mhm.
And I did feel like that comment was meant to be like, they're so stiff and conservative and, there's no warmth from them. Well, maybe she's just shy or doesn't want to be touched. Or like,
Mhm.
there's a ton of other reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Tara there. They kind of lost me on those moments where it almost was like, I think they're being petty, but it was like a kind of a passive aggressive petty, and I, like with you, I would rather have them, if they're gonna like do a real tell-all, just come out guns a-blazing and just like shoot from the hip and just start throwing grenades. Like the whole like, I think that's where Meghan sometimes loses people, is that she definitely gives off this kind of very polished and righteous and like put together and almost royal energy. And yet, she can't help herself by like, saying things to tell her side of the story to try to get people to side with her, which is only human. But I think that's where, she loses people sometimes.
It's like the middle ground. Like
Yeah.
we want her, like I want her to just come out, say what she means. You're telling your story. Okay, I'm here for that. But it's the middle ground of being like, well, we're above all this.
Yes.
And here's the tea.
And
That's-
they're stiff.
That's what it is. It's like, yeah, it's the we're above all this, but but if you pay attention, here's the tea. It's just like, and I think that's where she loses people. I think that's, if she could just lose that, either really not care what people think and just be your most authentic self, or do the Kate and William approach where it's like, hey, we're fucking royals, we got a job to do. Like, we don't spill tea, we don't respond, we always rise above, it's all about the image, it's all about the brand. It's like, all right, well, I got, you got a job to do. But I think it's the Harry and Meghan trying to play both sides that is rubbing their critics the wrong way.
I don't think they're trying to say they're above it though, just that they're separate.
It's
from
it's just how it comes across.
See, I thought the hugger comment, like I think it would be really jarring if I was meeting my like soon to be brother-in-law and sister-in-law and they wanted to shake my hand.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
but
it would,
what
but would
if
you go on a
that's-
Netflix
yeah.
special and get $100 million to like talk that shit?
If I was trying to explain like the little ways that I felt like culturally like there was this disconnect or divide, then like, yeah, I would. I think it's like a relevent data point.
But
But I'm
it's
also-
like you have a different culture, It's
Yeah.
just like they're just different people. Like I'm different. We had different upbringings. You're from the East Coast. I'm from the Midwest. We've both changed as human beings, but like I don't like that. Like we can't accept that. Like we're just different. We came from different places, and your displays of affection might be very different than mine. And when we say that publicly as a criticism to people about their character, I think I don't like that.
I feel like there's a lot of assumptions though making it about their character.
It's
Because
implied.
that therefore like you're projecting onto it.
She said that. She said the stiffness. It's not even just the hugging.
Yeah, she
She
was
said
like,
the formality or the stiffness that you see at events. I was assuming once the door was closed, everyone would kind of relax and it just maintained. Like she made it this overall character thing. But I also am saying like, where's the line of you're meeting them for the first time. You're kind of on their territory. You're meeting a new family.
It's an away game.
If I went home for Christmas with someone and someone stuck their hand out, I don't think I would be like, oh my God, I'm a hugger. Like,
Yeah,
just kind of go with the flow a little
every
bit.
girlfriend's families I've met, like I definitely like on a level of like best behavior and
Yeah.
politeness, and I'm not making myself at home right away, and I'm like, hey, I'm entering your house, and like I'm trying, and
in this context, this is the royal,
fucking family,
that
and-
is famously formal.
yeah. And again, like talk your shit, Meghan, but it's like it's the rise above, and I'm not petty energy that she's trying to give off, and I think people see below it. And it's just like I just wanted to know if he was nice line. That's not believable. Like, I would go to my grave if there's a way I could prove that, to say there was other things going on in her mind and she probably asked some crazy shit, and good for her. And I want to know that crazy shit that was like, what the fuck were you thinking going on this date? And it wasn't just, I hope he's nice, you know? And then when she gives those disingenuous answers, like it makes me question other answers, right?
She's in an impossible situation.
Totally.
Like, you know, I thought it was so horrible when they were showing that the paparazzi followed her mom and like tried to make her look poor and come from a bad neighborhood. It's disgusting. Like, taking photos of her in a laundromat to be bad is the most classist, terrible take. So, like, how could Meghan win? They're overtly racist, tracking down her mom. She's probably uncomfortable. It's this new world she's entering into. I feel like she has to be defensive. And she wants to build an empire. So if it's all those things.
I just wouldn't have done the tell-all.
Yeah.
Like, if I were their manager or their publicist, I'd been like, what are some other ways? Like, maybe a bad example, but I'm going to use it anyways. But like, I come from Bachelor Nation. Everyone knows that like a handful of people write tell-alls. I've been propositioned to write a tell-all. I could have written the best tell-all of all time. I've been on a lot of episodes. I know a lot of things. I've experienced a lot of things. And I just like was always like, no. I don't want to do that. Years later, I took a stab at writing a book about relationships, and I didn't know how people would feel about it. I didn't even know I could write, but I tried. And that was like a creative choice of mine. And I'm just saying, like, they didn't have to make a tell-all, and that's fine that they did. And if I were in their shoes, I probably would have done it too. But they could have done other things to make their money, to like carve out like what they want their brand to be, that didn't like necessarily criticize family members or, you know, the whole the whole institution. And it just opens up the door for criticism. It's not, again, I don't give a shit. I'm not here to criticize them. It's just more like I'm more questioning from what like we're discussing, what seems to be their goal, like building an empire, being liked. Like, I'm on the same page with you. And like, if that's their goal, I think their execution was a bit off.
And if they didn't expect to be criticized, that would be insane.
Yeah.
Like, obviously.
It seemed to hope that they didn't want to be criticized. I don't know if they expected it, but it seemed like they really hoped that people would watch this and just fall in love with them. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I did kind of fall in love with Prince Harry.
Yeah.
And
Harry or them?
Harry in particular, but like, my favorite movie is When Harry Met Sally, actually. And the whole beginning is like cut to music, old school, like 1950s music. They're so in love. Here's a picture of them kissing black and white in an industrial kitchen. Like, that was nice. And I was like, oh, romance is alive. This worked.
I think they're very much in love.
Mm-hmm. Like, that was really nice. And if they just had given me some dirt, I would have really liked it. But it was like we were talking about, the middle of the road. We want to have a brand. We want to make a couple digs, but not really. I guess the documentary didn't know what it wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could have had a more clear scope.
It like kind of looked like a lifestyle photo shoot. Like beautiful Santa Barbara, they're in love, but like, what's the point here? And maybe we'll see that in the next episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder if they were trying to like save all the tea for the end.
Later.
I did find it interesting. Obviously we saw Meghan's, half sister pop up in the news around the time of the wedding. But I don't think anyone really knew about the relationship that Meghan had with her niece. And the fact that she then couldn't attend the wedding. Like, so that was an interesting little tidbit.
I couldn't be more team Meghan when it comes to like the family conversations.
Her dad?
When it comes to
awful.
When it comes to tell-alls in general, or just like, like so-and-so's sister, like family members get way too much credit to be like the source of information about someone's character. It's just like, when like, oh, so-and-so's brother or sister or parent or cousin, we're like, oh, well, if they're related, it must be totally true or totally accurate. I love my family. I got a bunch of siblings. Quite honestly, one or two I would want speaking in my behalf, because I feel like they really know me. And part of it is like, hey, like maybe I didn't let my other siblings get to know me or whatever. Like, we're siblings, we love each other. Not all of us are as close as some of the other ones. Like, family dynamics are weird and funky. And like, there's a lot of like competition and all these like variables that go into like, you know, if one sibling has some level of success that the other doesn't have, like that can get real fucking messy. And I just don't think we should be like sourcing family members to get the most honest critique of people's like character. And yet we do it all the time. Like Meghan's stepsister is, I don't know who anything about her or what she's going through, but her half sister, her half sister, even worse, they're actually related. And one of them became a princess and the other one is just like, I don't know, struggling. Whatever. I don't even know what she's doing, but she is not doing well.
Spreading
it sounds
lies.
Like.
She's talking shit.
She's talking shit.
She really.
If you want some shit.
Yeah. And then people are paying her hundreds of thousands of dollars to talk shit. And like, of course she's going to talk shit.
It's so messed up.
They're like, you remember that girl you saw 18 years ago? The one you share a dad with? Talk shit.
Yeah.
She's a princess now.
Yeah, she's a
How are you?
How are you? Yeah, you like lost your job or you hate your job or whatever it is. Oh, your kid got taken from you and your parents raised your kid. Like you're not.
Oh, yeah. That was a weird detail too.
Yeah.
Her kids got taken away by her grandparents to take care of them.
But please tell us more about Meghan's character.
The second the niece kept referring to her mom as her biological mother, I was like, oh, I want to know why. I was like, tell me the shit.
Yeah.
What did she
do? And then her dad.
That was so sad.
That broke my heart.
Yeah.
And the fact that he just like wouldn't even answer. And then at one point they're like, the phone's been compromised because he would have never called me Meghan. It's awful.
Yeah, that was weird. Who was on the phone?
I don't know. Who's answering his text?
It was AI chatbot.
Literally, that's what it sounded like. It wasn't even coherent. The whole phrase, it was like, it felt like he was talking about Meghan to Meghan. That message that was sent back didn't make any sense.
I don't understand why he didn't just apologize. Like, if you do something like that, you're letting paparazzi take photos of you, staged photos, you're profiting off your daughter, and you get caught. Who in that situation, like if I did that to my sister, well, she's still I messed up. She's still my sister. Like, that's not worth blowing up our whole relationship for all of time.
And it seemed like Harry, that text, he's like, hey, this is Harry, blah, blah, blah. He seemed like a real level-headed, hey, I get it. This is fucking weird. The life
they were
I've
even
brought you
offering,
into.
let's move you out of there. You know, can we get you over here sooner for security purposes? It didn't seem like they were like, oh, you staged photos, the door's shut. They were trying.
Assuming if he needed the money, she probably would have
just given him the money.
Some, right?
Yeah.
I mean, these are all kind of very complicated, nuanced questions. Like, I guess there's an argument to be made where the guy, you know, his dad's like, maybe he just doesn't, like, I will say, like, parents really don't know better when it comes to this type of stuff. Like, when I went on The Bachelor, which is very much different than being a royal, you know? Like, but nevertheless, a lot of crazy things happen to, like, you know, like a lot of crazy things happens to me, and a lot of things, you know, local news outlets were reaching out to my parents, and a couple times I had to like tell my parents like, hey, like, I know you want to like have my back and shit like that, but just please don't, and stuff like that. So it can be really weird. And like someone's like, hey, I'll give you $100,000 if we like just let us take a picture of you holding this book. Like, I can see how he fucked up and didn't just know better, right?
Yeah, it didn't seem like an evil plot against his daughter. It seemed like maybe he needed money.
It's like, okay, yeah, I mean, need money. It's just like,
and it's a
you're
stupid
paying
thing.
me what for this?
For these dumb photos.
Maybe he never even heard of the royal family. Like, he didn't seem like a guy who really invested in what, like, you know, Princess Diana was doing back in the day. So, like,
I just wish he would have apologized. I feel like if he had just said, wow, I messed up, I needed money. Who can't understand that? If my dad did that to me, if he needs money and and he's embarrassed and the way he's going to get it is take these photos, who can't relate to that and forgive? And I feel like in their text messages, they also said, we're not mad at you. They did everything.
Yeah,
he lost his daughter. Not only did he not get to like walk her down the aisle, they're done.
I was confused about that. They like literally talked about him as if he died. And then like my understanding is he actually missed the wedding because he was sick, not because he refused to go. Is that inaccurate?
I feel like there's a lot happening at the same time, because even you saw the footage, it was less than a week, but it was close to the wedding, and the plan was for him to still be there to walk her down the aisle. So this all happened very last minute. And I feel like it was maybe was he sick? Was it like because of the shame of the photos? No one really knew, which is then why her mom was always going to be in the car with her. But then what ended up happening is she did half of the aisle by herself alone. And then Prince Charles came halfway down and did the rest of it with her.
That's nice.
Yeah. So it was like, ended up being like a cute moment, but
why is there no potential reconciliation? Because I know that was messy, but like, can't we get over this?
I had that question too because Prince Harry talked about the dad like he was dead. Like
It's
there
like
was
she
no
lost
way.
her father. And I'm just like wondering why.
Like no hope of reconciliation.
Because
But,
if
like why?
that's the only thing that doesn't add up. It's like, okay, you weren't mad. You sent these texts. It's not a big deal. You made a mistake. He doesn't know better. Like, it's not that hard to try to put yourself in his shoes and be like, he fucked up. Like,
Harry said, now she doesn't have a father. I shouldered that because if Meg wasn't with me, then her dad would still be her dad. It's amazing what people would do when offered a huge amount of money, $50,000, $100,000 to hand over photographs to create a story. And thank God most of them said no.
yeah. And again, like, I do have a little, like, I don't know her dad at all. Maybe he's a piece of shit. But if this is all he did.
Does he want to come on the podcast?
Yeah.
If all he did was take a couple staged photos, I can totally understand how he truly didn't know better. And while $100,000 and $50,000, it sounds like Harry understands that's a lot of money to most people. There's no way he understands the value of that, right?
Even let's call it just a mistake. Even let's say he knew it was bad. He needed the money. He made a mistake.
Yeah.
Cool. We all have done things we wish we hadn't have. But I agree that what's weird is how they said they were so like open, but then the door is closed forever. Like she didn't lose a father. She has a strained relationship with her father.
She's mad at her dad.
Mm-hmm.
She's mad at her dad who missed her wedding. That's shitty. It sucks. Be mad. You ruined a lot of things. It's fucked up. But like, you should be able to get over that. If you truly weren't that mad when it happened.
Right.
I wish they would have gone into that. Like what's happened since? Has any side tried to do outreach? Is it now like, oh, the phone's been compromised, so we're not reaching out?
That
Because
was
it feels
weird.
odd that ominous, weird text where he called her Meghan would be the last possible time anyone's heard from him.
I don't know. And, you know, her mom obviously is this very like put together woman. And like, she was clear, like, I would never, like, she clearly knew better. I would never do this. I was asked. And like, and so props to her mom. And again, like her dad fucked up. I guess it's why is it off the table? Why do they talk about him as if he's dead?
Yeah, did something else happen, I wonder?
And if so, why aren't you telling us? Why are you giving half of this? Why are you throwing this man under the bus, but not and not giving us all the detail? And if there isn't more, then why are you painting it as if like you weren't that mad, it wasn't a big deal, you tried to take the high road, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and he just what? Like, because they're implying from what the information they give us, the only guess I can come up with is that their dad is done with her.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the one maybe who feels embarrassed, and he's the one who has canceled her out of her life and not the other way around. I mean, I guess that's possible.
Because it is odd. They talk about, obviously I know we're looking back and talking about things in the present tense as if they're just happening, but they did get married 4 or 5 years, like it was 2018 in the spring, but like
4 years ago,
4.5 years
kids
ago.
now?
Yeah. So I'm like, but again, 4.5 years is a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of relationships can be patched up
holidays and Christmas. Like, hey, Dad.
Two children.
Like,
yeah.
I know we went through a lot, but just, I still love you and you're still my father. And I hope, has he met their kids?
Okay, so he was quoted. He gave an interview to the Daily Mail a few days ago.
Where he
said
he's alive.
Where he said he wrote every single word of the text message, that they said was not from him. And he also said, I would love to meet my grandchildren. I have the same phone, same house. Basically implying that they can get in touch with him. But my question is, why is he saying this to a newspaper? That does not demonstrate any growth, change, or evolution.
True.
That proves their point that he was
Has he reached out?
I mean, it's like he says like they could reach out to me pretty easily. So it's like,
But, sometimes with family, I always get this where it's like Nick never calls, and I'm always like, literally, my phone's like no one's calling me. You know what I'm saying?
Then do you go to TMZ and say nobody's
wish they would
calling
reach
me.
out.
No.
I'm here, same cell phone.
Well, okay, but if just to play fair, they did make a documentary and got paid a shit ton of fucking money, and they're telling their side of the story to throw him under the bus.
That's a good point. It's hard to feel compassion for anybody because it's so public. Everybody's making money. This is so not a relatable situation.
I get that. So like I there's a lot of points where I totally understand and empathize with Harry and Meghan, especially when it comes to like the fucking racist shit and like I don't know how I would handle being in that world like Meghan. I can't begin to imagine. But there's definitely like holes and like things I don't understand and like criticisms they make that people could easily make about them, where it's just like, well, you don't want your dad posting a picture, but the entire country of England doesn't want you guys making hundreds of millions of dollars off the brand of the royal family, which you don't have a problem doing. It's like,
that's a really good point.
Which is the difference, I don't give a shit. I really don't care. I want the people to know out there I don't care. But, his dad shouldn't go to TMZ, but has anyone reached out to the other person?
Right. And they did the exact same thing in their documentary. They didn't reach out to him. They just said what happened.
We all got to talk about it, and we all got to think he's a totally big piece of shit and a loser, and how could he, and how dare he, and why can't he be more like Meghan's mom, and her side of the family is amazing, and his side of the family, like, that would be hurtful.
But
I would be upset.
Do you want to hear some quotes from him? He said, I made a terrible on the topic of paparazzi photos. I made a terrible mistake for which I have apologized many times.
Oh.
I never got any help. I believe the photographer who told me those pictures would take some of the pressure off me. Harry and Meghan are now doing everything they told me not to do. They told me never to talk. I believe what they are doing now is far worse than anything I ever did.
He's not.
And then
that's a point.
I know, but
she
also
had a father before this, and now she doesn't have a father. Oh, sorry. That's the Harry quote. And then Mr. Markle said in response to that, she does still have a father. I'm here. I'm still alive. I still live in the same house and still have the same number. I'm still her dad. I would love to see my grandchildren. They have 2 grandfathers who would love to see them.
Like, how has he not met their grandkids?
But also, is it not a risk? I mean, he's going to this outlet, he's gone to other outlets, and I agree with you. They're exposing him to the world as well. But wouldn't you be nervous of, here, come to our home, let's talk to you about what we're doing, and then he's going to go and blast it everywhere?
There's
like,
no
do you
trust.
make your father sign an NDA?
Nobody trusts each other here.
Yeah, I don't know, but no one's willing. It doesn't sound like anyone's willing to take the high road, and that include Harry and Meghan in that. And I think they are trying. The documentary presents them as trying to take the high road, and I think it falls flat. No,
I don't know. It's just now that I think about, if my dad had repeating behavior such as this, I don't know if I'd be eager to,
this is in response to their
share.
documentary. He hasn't. Has he given an interview before all this?
He's got to have done something in the last 4.5 years. He's got to make a living.
I don't know. He got maybe he stretched out that 100K. I don't know.
What if everybody's in cahoots to
oh my
just
God, they're
get
all
publicity?
in on it together.
Like the royal
Totally.
family, Meghan and Harry. It's just to keep them relevant.
Totally.
I mean, because look, this is exactly what
it's reality TV. It's amazing.
Exactly. And if you believe that all the royal family wants is publicity, here it is.
Here it
I
is.
mean, everybody's talking about this.
The whole goal is to keep them relevant. I always say there's no such thing as haters or supporters. There's just people who care or don't care.
Oh, I've never heard that before. That's a good.
Yeah, I made it up.
That's just a truth bomb from you.
Yeah, it's just a truth
Oh
bomb for
my
me.
God.
Casual, he's
Meghan's
not there.
half brother, right before their wedding, sent Harry a letter telling him it's not too late to turn back.
Wait,
And
so
she's
wait,
going-
hold on. What? Reverse?
Record
You
scratch.
have my attention?
Great. So you know how Meghan's dad had those two adult children? We talked about the sister,
Okay, sure. Yeah,
but she also has a half brother.
Okay.
I didn't even know this until right now because I was searching for Thomas Markle and this popped up as Thomas Markle Jr. Thomas Markle Jr. will soon be appearing in the Australian version of Celebrity Big Brother and called Meghan Markle shallow during the trailer for the show. and said that I told Prince Harry, I think she's going to ruin your life. And he sent Harry a letter right before the wedding saying it's not too late to turn back and that
What?
his half-sister was obviously not the right woman for him.
Wow.
Yeah. That's bad.
It's bad.
Insane.
Everyone needs help.
I mean, this
That's
was back,
my take.
This
All
was back
these
from
people need help.
2021. So maybe he's already been on the show, but woof.
But that's, I mean, whether he believes that or not, that is a shitty thing to do.
Yeah, human to human. That's just bad.
Just bad.
That's awful. It's not too late to turn back. She'll ruin your life.
And now
Says
he's
the
going on-
half-brother that
He's
she
going on
doesn't know.
Celebrity Big Brother simply because his sister is Meghan Markle.
And that
Like
he
he
said that,
recognizes that, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he
guess-
does recognize that.
Yeah. I think they do really embody what you always say about choosing each other every single day. Like, I think that was one thing about this documentary. Like, I found the love story, like, I was there, I was here for it, I got them falling in love. I don't think their connection is necessarily one that exists in a super, like, outward facing way, or if it is, they didn't show it in the movie, in the sense that, like, I didn't feel like there were any moments where I was like, oh my God, they're saying, like, such meaningful, heartfelt things to each other. But I did know that they were, like, very in love. That much was clear. And also just, like, in all the trials and tribulations they went through, it seemed like Harry was just really unwavering in support of Meghan, and that Meghan was doing her very best to navigate all of this crazy stuff because she really loved Harry.
They give me a strong team energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really,
Yeah.
they very much
Like,
seem in
unified
love.
front.
Yeah, totally.
And I love seeing how Harry looks at Meghan.
Mhm.
You know, he's obviously so in love with her. And for that alone, I was like, this is beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
so nice.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a total wife guy.
Oh my gosh.
He
And
seems so good.
even the statement where he was saying, you know, I know there's going to be people who disagree with how I went about things, but I had to protect my family. I had to get my family. Like, it's Papa Bear energy.
No, I think it seems like he's a high character guy and he was raised in an environment where he probably had the option to be low character or bad character. You know, when you have that much privilege, you can kind of decide to be a piece of shit and not face the consequences. Yeah, again, my only real critique is I would have gone about this whole empire brand building in a different way, and I wouldn't have done a tell-all. I do think it's beneath what they're trying to accomplish, and I think they could have gone about it in a more delicate and smarter way that wouldn't have opened themselves up for the type of criticism they're getting. And the stuff with the dad and stuff like that, like, it's hard to argue against some of the things that it's just like, well, yeah, they got a point. Like, why are they saying and doing this? And like, explain to me the difference between what they're criticizing other people of doing and what they're doing right now. And they're making
kicking it
the
up.
most money out of anyone in this equation. I mean, I know, like, the royal family, they're just like fucking rich and shit, but like, you know, like Prince William's, does he have, I don't know how it all works with finances, but like, they're all like landowners, and like his dad, Prince Charles, like obviously inherited billions of dollars when he became the king, but like, do they have their own fortunes?
Well, I don't know if their own fortunes per se, but I do remember reading something that, because Kate is known for her like iconic blowouts. She always has like the beautiful blown out hair. And I remember when they were engaged or just recently married, this was years ago, someone was saying that the budget for her like blowouts every few days actually came out of Prince Charles's like budgetary whatever at Clarence's house. And so I just thought it was funny that her father-in-law was quote unquote paying for her blowouts every few days. But
Because like she
Yeah.
doesn't have her own like credit cards or something? Probably. I mean, probably not though, you know?
That's a good
Yeah.
question. Do they have credit cards?
they?
they just hand out jewels.
Like, do they know their like ATM pin?
Yeah. Do they have
check-
a debit card?
Yeah, probably not. But like Harry and Meghan probably obviously do now, and they probably have agents and all these things, and they're getting their bag. That's for sure.
I think the one thing there is to say in response to the, like, why would they do the tell-all, like, kind of bad PR, is I imagine for them, like, this was relentless. And I think when we see it in a montage in a documentary, it's easy to be like, okay, yeah, it was like this, we get it. But like every single goddamn day being nitpicked for something and being told what you're doing wrong and being told how you are and being like having these lies broadcast to the world. I'm sure in reference to all of those days that she was putting up with bullshit headlines, a few days of doing an interview doesn't feel like that much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure she justified it a million ways. I don't know if it, again, as someone who doesn't give a shit, in a way. Like, if Meghan and Harry want to hang out, let's double date. Like, I'm down to hang out with them and I'll be their best friend. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think that saves them from the criticism that is out there. And if they're trying to be well-liked and have this brand and have people see a different side of me, because I don't think like when we get criticized publicly or whatever, or otherwise, like arguing with someone doesn't change their mind. Saying, well, no, you don't understand me. But this, like just honestly ignoring people and then just proving them wrong in the future by different actions and just letting them decide for themselves whether they want to like see a different version of you is, I feel like, the only way that changes people's perspective. It's not like when I went on The Bachelor and got a villain edit, it wasn't blaming the edit and like saying you don't know me and this is the other side of the story that you like changed anyone's mind about me. It was like years of like just doing my thing and being who I am and letting people decide whether they started to like what I was doing or still not like what I was doing. And I've had people who used to like me who might be like, well, I used to like you and now I think, this or that. Like, it's not a tell-all. I don't think it's ever been like, now I like you more. It's more like, thanks for the tea and you're messy, like, so I just don't know why they did the tell-all.
There's no winner here. You know what Meghan and Harry do win, though, is a lot of money. So, like, good to them. Yeah. Congratulations. That's awesome. Meghan is building an empire. Cool. And everyone seems really hurt. And I have no opinion because my family is messed up, too, just in wild other ways. And I can't imagine what it's like to be nitpicked that publicly.
For sure. I would love for Meghan, my wish is that Harry and Meghan's dad can find a place of reconciliation. Maybe the wounds will never go away, but like hopefully there's space to like introduce them to their grandfather and not talk as if your dad is dead when he literally I hope for them, however they get there, that the wounds can heal, because I just don't see how that's not a better outcome for everyone than to throw jabs across media platforms in the public eye for people on podcasts to debate. Anyway, time for some texting office hours. How's it going?
Good. My name's Molly. I am 25 years old and I am needing help because I got ghosted by my best friend of 10 years over basically a miscommunication.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
To fire a best friend over.
Yeah.
What do you mean by miscommunication?
Miscommunication. Basically, we were supposed to have a phone call one day. Talk on the phone. She's in a pretty intense school program, so she doesn't have a ton of free time. She called me. I didn't answer because I was busy, and then basically I didn't hear from her for like a day and a half after that, and I was trying to get a hold of her. And then she sent me this really long text, basically firing me as her best friend. And I said, okay, do you want to talk sometime soon? Like, I want to work this out. I really care. Like, I don't want this to be like a thing. And then I haven't heard from her in 7 months now. I'm blocked on all social media. Her husband and entire family blocked me on all social media. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, should I reach
no idea?
No idea for like why she blocked me.
Yeah, well, do you mind? You sent the long message she sent.
Yeah, basically she said
I can't read well.
Like
do you want to be the friend?
Sure, that's the black one, right?
Yeah, and it's
black on black.
It's two pages.
It's really long. Yeah.
I can do the timestamps because I feel like it's
Okay.
relevant.
You're very good at the stage
All right.
directions.
Take us away, Amanda.
Friday, June 3rd, 6:01 a.m.
Morning, buddy.
Friday, June 3rd, 8:50 a.m.
I don't want to name names in quotes is probably my biggest pet peeve in life. Live. Or you said live, then you corrected yourself live. What were you referring to?
I have no idea. I think I was just texting her something random that like happened at work or came to mind or something.
Okay.
Nothing pertinent to this.
All right.
Later that day at 12:44.
What are you doing?
Later that day at 10:06.
So later that night at 10:06, she doesn't reply to what are you doing? 3 question marks, you write.
And then the following morning, Saturday, June 4th, 8:21.
If something is wrong, I would appreciate you letting me know. All very fair, no emojis, no exclamation points. Love it from you.
And
Thanks. Yeah.
And at Saturday, June 4th at 10:25.
Feelings hurt. needed space because that's how I get over things. I have to pull away when my relationship with people feel draining or non-reciprocal to me to preserve my energy, and that's how I was feeling. I feel that way extremely often, and most times I just roll with it until I have to recharge. When I talk to people, they talk to me about themselves / what they have going on, rarely ask about me in any way in return, which I don't mind 99% of the time. But when I do have something I want to talk about / get off my chest, it sucks to continuously be ignored. I had voice memoed you actually, wanting to talk about how to approach something with my mom, parentheses, who I have also pulled away from because I'm drained, and had another question about nursing school that would pertain to me / my semester. But I didn't even bother since that was dismissed. That's why I said our texting drives me nuts. We are great over the phone, but texting goes unmet 98% of the time, when I always feel that I make a conscious effort to be there to hear out anyone around me. I put effort in where I can in my windows, but I have to stop still, always being the one to put effort in outside of my windows too. So it's just something I have to pull back on for my own sake so that I preserve my energy for the people who always give theirs to me in full. D, harps, Graham, etc. And this is not supposed to be argumentative. You asked me what was wrong, and I'm being vulnerable and sharing. It's not a diss or a slam. I hope our friendship is at this mature of a stage to understand, because it's not a big deal, and I'm not mad or trying to be ugly at all. This is simply how I deal with my feelings, and would have kept that to myself had you not asked. Hope you have a good day, and we will talk soon. I'm going to go have a day with Dee before I have to study all night. And on top of it all, my anxiety has been at an all-time high lately, which I also briefly mentioned to you, and nothing back. So I'm just trying to balance everything and feel healthy in all aspects because I haven't lately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And you wrote, okay, well, I love you. And I think we should talk about all this on the phone when we have the chance, because obviously I'm not great at texting, not shade, it's just true. So I see and hear you on all of this, and I'm not dismissing at all. I just think talking on the phone would be best so we can both feel better. Is that okay with you? Let me rephrase. If it's just about important stuff and not just about shooting the crap, yeah, I'm bad at texting and this, and you are very important to me. So I want to talk on the phone whenever we can. She wrote back,
No, sorry, I don't have time for a phone call. I have a quiz I'm studying for, and this whole scenario, including what I voice memoed you about, is past the point.
Basically, she sent that. I said, hey, let's talk about it. She said, no, I can't. And then I can pull up the text, but basically we haven't spoken since then. She called me out of the blue, no nothing, just out of the blue one day, 2 weeks later. I didn't answer because I kind of still, I felt like she was just expecting me to drop everything for her, and I was still upset about the situation.
You deliberately
So I
didn't answer?
Yes, I deliberately did not answer. I was at lunch with my boyfriend at the time, or not at the time, he's still my boyfriend, but we were at lunch and I didn't answer. I didn't text. I just let it go and didn't say anything.
Wait, so you wrote at some point, June 15th, hey, bud, I decided to step back too, and I'm feeling better. Hope everything is going well for you, and we can talk soon. I love you, yellow heart. What's that in reference to?
Okay, so sorry, I forgot about that part. I didn't answer after she said, no, I can't talk. I sent her that text basically because I didn't want to talk to her either. Like, I was pretty upset after that just because I felt like I was trying to say, hey, let's figure this out. And she didn't. I felt pretty rejected. So I sent her a text, told her I was feeling better, like if we could talk soon. Then one day she called me up out the blue and I did not answer because she never replied to that text. So then it was just kind of like a back and forth.
Yeah.
Of us kind of like dodging each other. And yeah, now it's 7 months later.
How badly do you want to rekindle this friendship?
I've gone back and forth about it. She's my best friend for 10 years and like my deepest, closest friend. And I've been pretty sad about it the whole time. But I go back and forth between like, do I really like want to put myself through this again? Because I feel like I'm honestly just gonna be met with rejection. But I'm also like, but we were friends for so long, and I don't necessarily want like, I don't want to like just throw all that away. So I don't know what I want to do.
What about the friendship would you be losing if you never had it come back in your life? Like, what does she bring to your life as a friend?
Honestly, I really hate saying it. I feel like at the time I thought I would be losing a lot more because I've obviously thought about it. Like I felt like I was losing a lot more, but really she has just been like, she's been there with me through a lot of stuff over the last 10 years. I mean, we were friends from 15 to 25, and I feel like she's kind of like my last friend's connection from my like childhood almost. And I think that's more what I'm connected to, because when I think about it, I feel like a lot of stuff was kind of one-sided with her. But
what do you mean?
I don't know.
What do you mean everything?
Like she expects me to drop the phone, drive 2 hours to hang out with her for a day. Like she lives about 2 hours away from me, expects me to like always come to her. Everything is kind of on her time. And I kind of just let it happen. I didn't really like set my boundaries with that. Yeah, I feel like it was just very like, she says it's all one-sided, but really I feel like I had to put in a lot of the effort with her.
I don't know, obviously, her or you, but when you read her message, I wonder if she like reread it before she sent it. There were just a lot of I's in there. I do this, I do that.
Also a lot of, I'm not angry.
Yeah.
I'm not angry. I'm not mad.
I'm not mad. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, listen.
And this has all happened before.
What do you mean? Sorry. You've had a falling out before?
This is all like we've had, I think it's actually kind of weird. I think I've figured out that we've had like a falling out every 2 years for the last like, I don't know, most of our friendship actually. So it's like periodically there's always something that happens, and then we like rekindle, and then things are great. And then, but this is the longest stretch. And now it's kind of like, okay, do I want this? Do I want to reach out? I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's your first question. No, like deciding whether you want to like, and I ask that because if you do, like, you like, if you want to rekindle this friendship, you'd have to decide to like have that be your priority. And then you have to like set aside, the who's right or who's wrong. And you have to be the bigger person, like when she called and you screened her, and I know you were with your boyfriend and you're like, well, I don't want to drop things because like, and you have the right to do all those things. But like at the end of the day, you have to decide like, is fixing this relationship a priority or not? And if it is, then you have to make it a priority and make some sacrifices. And even if that means, being the bigger person, just so that you guys can get in front of each other and have a conversation, because you're right, over text, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you are like emotionally invested in making it work.
I'm just kind of wondering, has this exact topic come up before? Like you've said, you've had all, like this has happened in a pattern. What is it usually about? Is it the same topic?
The last time happened, I think, in 2020. I was at her house, actually, me and, some of our friends were all at her house for 4th of July weekend. And I guess she got really pissed off about something. I don't really know. And kind of like went off into like another room, was just like sticking to herself. And I went in to check on her. I was like, hey, like, are you okay? What can I do? And she was just like, no, like, leave me alone. Like, I don't want to talk. And I was just like, like, what can I do anything? And then she just like flipped out on me, was like, no, leave me alone. And then I was like, all right. And then I took off and I left and I went home and I drove 3 hours back home. And then we didn't talk for 2 months or so. So I feel like, I don't know, I guess the common theme is almost like me constantly putting myself out there for her and then getting nothing. But it's like a weird attachment I have to her almost, like, or to the friendship at least. And that's what I've had a hard time letting go of.
Because I hear something different, which is each time you have a miscommunication, you guys aren't like aligned, and then you just ghost each other and there's no resolution. So you're doing the same thing over and over.
Because I'm hearing like, it's like you guys had this really intense friendship that started when you were 15, right? And you guys, it's a very intense friendship, right? And it's not just, it seems almost has like some parallels to like almost a romantic relationship where there's like a heightened expectation of being there for each other and nurturing
Yeah.
each other in times of needs emotionally and things like that. And, we were talking about this earlier, like with great expectation can come great disappointment. And as you guys have, no doubt, matured and grown up, something you said, I think you said she's married or whatever, and you have your boyfriend and you have your friends, you've made other friends too. And I think friendships often, I always talk about checking in relationships when things change and address the change rather than ignore the change in relationships, because change is going to happen. And it's better to just check in and be like, hey, like, this is different. How do we adjust? And friendships don't do that as near as much as well. And especially friendships like this, because you guys made all these promises to each other when you were younger. We're going to do this. We're going to be at each other's weddings and blah, blah, blah. And she doesn't handle you disappointing her very well. That seems pretty obvious. And I don't know if you're any better. I don't know. I'm only getting your side of the story. But to Tara's point, you leaving and also not reaching out and expecting her to reach out, and she's expecting you to reach out, and you guys play this game, and then finally someone gives in. And I think you guys need to set clear, if you were to rekindle this friendship, right? First, you'd probably have to be the bigger person and reach out. And then if you guys could sit down, you would have to say some version of like, listen, we have this past, we have this friendship, and I don't know about you, but like, I would like you in my life rather than not having you in my life. But I think we have to like reset our expectations with each other of what this friendship is. And maybe those expectations have changed from when they were 10 years ago or 5 years ago. But I think if we do that, we can avoid upsetting one another, because I would rather have you in my life less than what I expected in the past than not at all. Because right now you're not in my life at all. And there have been several times in the past 7 months that I really wanted to reach out to you, and I really wanted to ask you something, or I wanted to talk to you. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but if you did, maybe there's a way we can like have a middle ground. But it's going to require you too, like redefining your expectations of what this relationship means to both of you. I think it's worth for you to try.
Okay.
Because I do feel like there might be a learning opportunity for you here to kind of just reflect on the friendship itself. If the worst thing that happens is you put in some effort to this friendship that you claimed obviously was very meaningful, was 10 years long, like the emotional energy that you're going to spend and try to fix this friendship, I think is worthwhile, and you will have no regrets. Like that's how I see it. But it will require you to like be the bigger person throughout the course of this healing process. You can't just be the bigger person for 5 minutes while drafting a text message. And then when you don't get the response that you expected from being the bigger person for 5 minutes, then you decide to say, fuck you, I'm done, I tried, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And you're smirking here, so I can tell like I'm
That's my
home.
natural like response to the whole thing, obviously.
And I get it's a total human emotion, but like it's first recognizing the role you played in this situation before you try to approach her. And maybe that's how you start this conversation, as I've been doing a lot of thinking and reflecting, and I realize that like I could have done this and I could have done that. But ultimately, I just want to like, I miss you, and I want to figure out a way to have a friendship with you. And I think, you say it like that rather than being like, I want what we used to have. I don't think you want what you used to have anymore. And I don't think it's realistic for either of you to expect what you used to have. But I still think you can have a friendship that evolves into something new with new expectations, maybe more realistic expectations, not the expectations you guys set for yourself when you were 18 and 19 and like you didn't know who you're going to end up with, and you just all you had were your dreams and each other. And now you're kind of going up against those dreams, and it's not fitting into what you guys expected, and it's like fucking with both of you, and you're just projecting your frustrations onto each other. If you do rekindle it, you have to have a conversation about like how, since you guys have had this happen multiple times, what do we do in the future when we're not seeing eye to eye or we're frustrated at each other? You know how people say like, don't go to bed angry and shit like that? You guys need to figure out how to not to go to bed angry, so to speak, and not swear each other off, and then play a game of chicken and whose responsibility is it to call the other person. Like I'm a big believer in like, no one is ever as selfless as they like to believe, because and selfish people call other people selfish all the time, you know, because for you to think that everyone else is being selfish but you means that, like, you know, and if you're thinking you're so selfless, then it's never is. Other people are thinking, well, you could have should have done this, and of course you should have done that. Like, you know, it's easy for us to pat ourselves in the back. We're always the heroes in our stories. No one's ever the villain in their own story. And I think just remember that, you know, because a lot of it feels like what you guys are fighting about is like semantics and, you know, not making the other person feel seen or heard at the most perfect time. And you guys are like kind of keeping score about who should do what, when then, like, at the end of the day, you guys just want to be there for each other when you need. And you have the right to say, hey, I'm a little busy right now. Can we touch base tonight or tomorrow or whatever? And hey, by the way, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you right away. I was busy. That's okay. You have a life. You guys got to get to a place where you're not having the same expectations that you had for each other when you were teenagers. And it doesn't sound like you've ever had that conversation. Just reach out and say, keep it real simple. You can text her or whatever, or maybe just surprise her with a phone call.
But should I text her? Since that's been kind of an issue.
I mean, yeah, you're just I don't know, text, reach out. It's just, hey, I miss you. This is going on too long. I would love to talk because I really want to have you in my life, and just see what she says there.
I also think, I don't know if you have any sense of her like schools, like what her schedule is, but like sometimes you can look up when finals week is, like it's on the school website. Like if you send her a text that's like, hey, like, and like just include something like hope finals went well or something, like maybe another way to just kind of like start the goodwill olive branch and like, I'm listening to you, girl.
The holidays are coming up. Yeah, she'll probably be done with school. She'll get a small break, so she won't have to be stressed about that. And then you say, hey, I was been thinking about you over the holidays. I miss you. Is there any chance we can reconnect? And just maybe throw in like an apology, you know? It breaks my heart, and for the role I played, I'm sorry, but I do know I want you back in my life. If she shuts you down and says, hey, listen, like, I'm happy now and no offense, you have your answer.
All right. I will, if there's anything to update, I'll for sure update
we love
y'all.
to. Just focus on not trying to win and lead with like what you were working on, and try not to get defensive. Lead with love, kindness, and just, if you get in front of her, then just have an honest conversations about how important it is to have her in your life, and then what expectations should we set with ourselves to avoid this in the future, and stop pretending it's never going to happen again. Like, the only guarantee is that conflict will always come up, especially with people who are invested in each other, who have expectations of each other, who spend a lot of time with each other. Like, expectations, you know, happen, and that's what creates a relationship. But with expectations comes a possibility of disappointment, and we're just only human, and we're going to disappoint people. And we start saying crazy shit like this will never happen. It makes the possibility that disappointment feeling really painful when it does.
Yeah, and it definitely has been. So, all right.
Good luck. Keep us posted.
Well, thanks.
All right.
I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Thanks for calling in.
All right. Yeah, no problem.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Good luck.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Just like, don't be like, you know, the Markles, you know, be better than the Markles.
Just have an honest conversation, admit your mistakes.
And yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, because that's what the Markles are doing. It's, you did this.
On this day, I have this text message. I called.
What do you have to say about that? Yeah, it's crazy.
When you find yourself litigating, like, who did exactly what, and like to that thing, like trying to win, you know something has gone wrong with yourself.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's something here. Why am I so defensive?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You know, we appreciate her calling, but yeah, she definitely, you nailed it right in the head. It was like, the more we heard, the more it was like, we could have been talking to our friend and hearing the exact same story.
And it's hard. Like, as I was thinking about it, if I had to have the conversation with my friend, my heart started racing. Like, it would be hard to sit down with your friend, and, you know, and like, we're all growing up.
Yeah.
Like, it's what it is.
It's tough. Friendships are tough. I don't know. Tara, it's been an absolute pleasure having you join us.
I had so much fun. This was so fun. You guys are awesome.
Well, we appreciate it. You're welcome back anytime. Can you please let my audience know of all the great things you're doing? Plus, you got a new book coming out. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So I have a new book coming out. It's called Glow in the Fucking Dark.
Love the title.
Thank you.
What's it about?
So my first book, Buy Yourself the Fucking Lilies, is basically I reparented myself after this neglectful childhood and found stability, something I never thought I would have. And like precisely at the moment where I was like, I'm on this good enough plateau. Awesome. I, for the first time ever, heard this other voice that was like, there's more to your life. Like there you have, basically I was playing whack-a-mole with depression, anxiety, any of these issues, plugging up holes. And I decided, who am I? What do I want? You know, the bigger questions that I really had never thought about. So this book is about asking yourself those questions, finding your own answers. But like I do it with stories, like the time I ill-advisedly made myself eat a diet of raw beets and kale because I felt like I'd be a good person. And that's what healthy people did. Like I've tried everything. So hopefully it's hopefully it's funny. Hopefully it makes you laugh. And, you know, I'm dealing with complex trauma, suicidal ideation. Like I'm trying to take on like some more serious topics.
Wow. And I got the, you know, as someone who used to be an executive at Comedy Central and now as a writer, and it almost sound like your book you're talking about, because I know we hear from a lot of people who get to that point in life, late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, even 40s, and they don't love life, you know?
Yeah.
They maybe just don't love what they do, but changing can be so scary. And I got a sense that maybe the book kind of
Totally.
like gives a lot of perspective on people who might be relating to that kind of mindset.
I mean, I fully pivoted my life. Like I worked at Comedy Central for 10 years. I started on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. That means I was there basically a third of my life to that point. It was home. And so to pivot, I first off got laid off. That did not leave of my own accord. I would have been hanging on because it was a dope job and it was so fun and it was safe. It was like the only family I ever knew. And so I moved to Arizona. I did this like whole like left turn.
You left town.
I was
literally.
like, I packed up my Prius of doom and was just like, I'm off. And, you know, people ask me like, oh, has it been really scary pivoting your whole career? And it's like, yeah, duh. It's not easy for anybody. And it's so much better than when I was walking around with anxiety being like, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right choice? Like I felt a constant anxiety because I didn't feel like I was doing what I wanted. I felt like I was just settling all the time.
And then like the sitting and wondering if you could be doing something better, kind of like our caller, like wondering if her friend hates her or not. That's so much worse than trying and failing at something. I have found. I don't know. It's just like the slow death of nothing.
You used the precise right word, suffering. All she's doing, the caller, is suffering right now because she's not doing anything to move forward. She's just stewing in a thing.
Yeah.
And so this whole book is about like, you actually could just make your life a lot better today if you stopped having these self-inflicted wounds of, am I good enough to do that? Can I do that? Just try. And there's some really easy, you know, tips. Like it's in the self-help section, but I kind of hate self-help because I feel like they're like, feel joy, just let go. I'm like, what are steps 1 through 3? Like, duh, I want to feel joy, you know? So I try to like break it down. Like, here's what I did. I have no idea if it'll work for you, but it's an idea.
I love that approach. I relate to that when I wrote my book. I was like, listen, take it or leave it. I don't know. Works for me. I'm not even saying I'm an expert, but like, fuck it. I like my life now.
Yeah, I'm very not an expert. I just studied a bunch of stuff and now I'm really happy. So here.
Yeah, exactly. Love that. Is it available for pre-order now?
It's available for pre-order now. And my first book, Buy Yourself the Fucking Lilies, is out everywhere.
It's crushing life. I know, like Goop loved it. I mean, it's been critically acclaimed all over the place. So it's crushing life.
A Bachelor alum, Hannah Brown, was seen carrying a copy of it.
Oh.
And it was a huge moment at my publisher. They were like, oh my God, did you, like, more so than like a literary person liking it. They freaked out. So
that makes sense because like you would think that's probably from a target audience, like that's who you want, you know, and Hannah Brown, like very public figure. And that was a couple years ago, even more in the Hannah Brown heydays. Like that makes sense. Like, hey, that's someone who might hopefully is benefiting from it. I would rather have
Yeah.
say like someone like Hannah Brown being photographed with my book, then
Yeah.
I guess some
Some like
English
insider.
teacher. Yeah.
Yeah. And ultimately, I hope the book is just helpful. Like, that's what I hope.
I find like if it does,
Totally.
then you kind of feel great. And I'm imagining it's going to do a lot more than that.
I hope.
Well, congrats.
Thank you.
And then where else can people find you?
So I write a newsletter every week at taraschuster.com/newsletter, or you could just text 66866. Text GLOW to 66866. And that I have like one every week, really easy to understand self-care tip. You could do this tomorrow to make your life a little better. And I'm on Instagram.
Do you have
like
one
Tara
for us
Schuster.
right now?
Well, actually, I don't have a tip. I have a like reflection.
Okay.
You guys all really like one another. And you have so much chemistry and enjoy each other's company. And I hope you just like bask in that. Like, you're so lucky to have found one another. And it was just cool to watch all of you.
Oh, great job, guys. Oh, look
Yay.
at us.
Oh, it's
Oh.
like we were snippy recording the intro this morning.
Well, I wasn't here for that.
No,
So
but it's a testament to the fact that we're very comfy.
That theater degree is really paying off.
Oh, well, that means a lot to me too, because I hired them and hoped that we would create this type of environment. And yeah, we definitely have. So thanks for noticing.
So
Go
kind.
team.
So kind.
Good team.
You bring
Yay.
out the best in us.
Well, thanks for listening, guys. As always, we appreciate it. Don't forget to, write us a review. We haven't asked you to do that in a while. 5 stars is fine. Say something nice or not. I don't know. Tell your friends. Send in those questions at all things Ask Nick at asknick@castme.com. Cast with the K. And yeah, don't forget Fortune Feimster next week to break down the rest of the episodes. Plus, we'll get into obviously other topical topics and freestyle. Well, we'll surprise you. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching, but before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos like our Mondays Ask Nick for your favorite relationship stories and advice, and our Tuesday Bachelor recaps. See you next time.